He simply curiously reached his hand into the wooden box, but he never expected that a giant hand would suddenly appear in the cell. Terrified, he quickly pulled his hand back. To his surprise, the giant hand disappeared with it. This strange scene left him frozen in place for a long time. To make sure he hadn't seen things wrong, he carefully placed the box on the ground, and then stared intently at the ceiling. Just as he opened the box again, the ceiling also opened at the same time. He repeated the process several times, and the result was the same each time. He extended his hand again, and when his palm touched the giant hand's fingertips and felt that familiar warmth, Avi smiled. He was certain that this was his own hand, and finally realized that the box contained a miniature version of the cell and himself, and that the box was in the same dimension as his current self. Avi's didn't have time to marvel or think about the principle behind it. His first thought was to escape using this box, but in fact Avi's was just an ordinary prisoner in this regular prison. The only unusual thing was that he was locked in cell number 8, because it was said that no prisoner had ever been released from this cell. But upon entering the cell, he found only an old man inside. However, he didn't notice that when he entered, the old man had already skillfully hidden a strange ticking matchbox in the drawer. After a brief greeting, the old man continued reading his book and ignored Avi's other questions. Bored, Avi's noticed the unusually prominent red wooden box on the bed. He was about to study it carefully when Hills spoke up.
Why? Don't open it. Why not? Because you might regret it.
This remark instantly triggered Avi's rebellious side. After all, he was already in prison. How could there be a worse outcome? Thinking this, he opened the box without hesitation. To his surprise, he discovered that inside was a miniature version of a prison cell. He initially thought it was just a model made by the old man out of boredom. Curious, he reached out to touch it, and that's when the earlier scene happened. At that moment, Hill's warning was completely forgotten. It was as if a drowning person had grasped at hope. Avi saw the hope of escaping the cage and regaining freedom through the wooden box, so he quickly climbed onto the table.
Come on, open the box.
To his surprise, Hills didn't refuse. Instead, he quickly began helping him. As the ceiling of the prison cell was lifted, Avi's didn't hesitate and jumped out. But what he didn't know was that the so-called freedom he saw was actually still a huge cage. Behind him, Hills stood with a numb expression watching him. Then he took out a familiar matchbox and placed Avi's inside. Finally, Hills locked the wooden box again and put it back on the bed. As for the constantly struggling matchbox, it became another trophy in his human nature test.